Today we're going to be looking at the differences between argumentative versus persuasive writing, and just exactly what you need to know about both of them. Here are the learning objectives for this lesson. In this lesson, I will be able to identify argumentative and persuasive writing, and our essential question says, what is argumentative writing? So let's go ahead and answer that question. What is argumentative writing? In argumentative writing, the writer must make a claim, otherwise known as an argument, and they must stand by that claim with facts rather than opinion and emotion. Put the clock in the top right corner because the issue we're going to be discussing throughout this video is whether schools should start later in the day. Some schools start very early, and there's recently been debate about whether that should be the case. In order to understand argumentative writing, we have to understand something called the claim. In argumentative writing, you must pick a side. The statement that you are trying to prove true or correct is called the claim. Another important facet or part of argumentative writing is the counterclaim. The claim or argument is, of course, the side you choose to stand by. The counterclaim or counterargument is when you recognize the arguments of the other side, then strike them down with facts. Remember, instead of emotion and opinion, in argumentative writing, we focus on facts and research. Now that we've looked at the differences between both the claim and counterclaim, let's see if you can pick out which is which from an example. In this example, it says school should start later in the day. I support this stance because studies show it increases test scores, gives families more time together, and reduces childhood obesity. Do you think that example would be a claim or a counterclaim, otherwise known as an argument or a counterargument? On to question number 2. Do you think that this example is a claim or a counterclaim? Some argue that starting school earlier allows more time for after-school activities. However, research shows that schools have more widely attended after-school programs when those programs begin later in the day. Is that a claim or counterclaim? Now that we understand the difference between a claim and a counterclaim, let's look at the differences between argumentative writing and persuasive writing. First, argumentative writing equals defending with facts and evidence. Persuasive writing is sort of the opposite. In persuasive writing, you defend with opinions and emotion. You can still have facts in there, but it's more opinion and emotion based. So let's look at an example based on our overall question. Should school start later in the day? Below on the left, it says yes. I have cited several studies that show that starting later in the day increases test scores significantly. This is something you might see in argumentative writing. On the right, it says yes. I believe that starting school later is the most fair option. It just makes sense. That's going to be more towards persuasive writing. Both examples on the previous page were pretty simplistic. Let's see if we can take it a little bit deeper with question number 3. Argumentative writing or persuasive writing? Starting school before 8 a.m. is insane. For the first 2 periods each day, I feel like absolute garbage. Do you think that would be an argumentative writing or persuasive writing? And let's try question number 4. Argumentative or persuasive? Studies show that teens' natural body clocks push them to go to sleep later in the day, thus making waking early more difficult. Let's go a little bit deeper with argumentative writing. Notice how in the previous examples that were argumentative writing, we mentioned things like research and citations. Argumentative writing is based on logic and fact. It acknowledges the opposing side with something called the counterclaim, and it always focuses on the evidence rather than on emotion or people's opinion. Let's quickly look at persuasive writing as well, because it is something you will be doing at some point. Persuasive writing focuses on emotion. Facts may still be used, but they're not the focus. It only presents one side. There's no counterclaim, and you may not even acknowledge that there is another opinion besides your own. Persuasive writing is also more aggressive. In persuasive writing, you want to change the other side's mind. It's not just there to get you to acknowledge, it's there to get you to change your opinion. And now the wrap-up. Remember the 4 terms that I listed below: claim, counterclaim, argumentative writing, and persuasive writing. Feel free to rewind if you need to review, and complete any follow-up practice if this lesson was assigned by your teacher.